Welcome to Elevate Your Ride, the podcast dedicated to elevating your performance in the saddle. I'm Ellie, your personal trainer.
And I'm Lauren, your mindset coach.
All right, today we have Lauren's horse trainer, Troy Compton, back again to talk about fitness. Troy, can you tell me a little bit about your fitness background and your relationship with exercise?
My fitness background is not really much. I did sports in high school, so there was some conditioning while I was doing football. Once I got up into high school, the coaches said, "Hey, you need to make a decision with the horses or the sports." And that was an easy decision with me. So I went to the horses. And of course, I was pretty athletic just by nature. But as I got older, I could tell that I needed to do some things. I really didn't take it seriously until I got into my 50s, actually. I'm 59 now. So I started feeling I didn't have the energy that I needed. I was sore, just doing simple chores like hooking up the tractor and things that we have to do at a ranch to maintain things were becoming more of a chore for me. And I could definitely tell getting on the horses, my timing wasn't as good. I needed to make a change. So that's why I started working out. Actually, a friend of mine, Todd Crawford, who's one of the leading cow horse riders, talked me into start working out with him. He lives here local, and that's what got me started.
So, what was your experience like working out with him? What did you guys work on together?
Todd and I actually started out with a group. There's a couple of barrel racers and us two guys that were working together, and it was a group atmosphere. Had a really good personal trainer. Then things kind of weather changed. People, of course, in the horse business can't get schedules together to stay consistent. So everybody else kind of dropped out of the program, and I was seeing results from it. So I needed to stick with it. Also, about this same time, I had an old knee injury from back in '07 where I entirely dislocated my lower leg. And so I severed all the ligaments that held my left leg together. And after I started working out, this started accentuating some of that. I started having some issues with that because I couldn't do squats and mountain climbers and things like that, where my knee started swelling up. But we came to the decision that knee was going to have to be replaced. So, of course, that wasn't instantaneous. You have to go through seeing doctors and doing all that. But I kept working out through that whole process. And once my trainer figured out that I needed to get a knee replacement, we started just kind of concentrating on exercises for that knee so that once I got through my surgery, I would be better equipped to recover from it, and which we did.
So, what was it like rehabbing back from that injury?
One of the hardest things I've ever done. My body does heal fairly fast, and the initial knee surgeries I had to recover from previously weren't as strenuous as this. This was pretty extensive knee surgery. It was quite a few hours long, more than your basic knee replacement. They had to go in and grind on bones, and I had a lot of bone bruising. And like for the first 3 weeks after my surgery, I didn't sleep but maybe 30 minutes. Like it was very painful. And as soon as I could get through the pain where I could go to working out, I went back to it. Now, what I did was we went to physical therapy right after surgery. Of course, I started doing that, but I wasn't getting the results that I wanted from my physical therapist. My personal trainer had researched quite a bit. So I went to my doctor and told him that I was quitting physical therapy. I don't recommend this for everybody, but this is what I did. And I went back to my personal trainer, and I got way more out of that recovering from my injury than I did from actually going to physical therapy. But I had a good system in place, and I had prepared for post op. And I think it really helped me by having a personal trainer before and after.
How long did it keep you out of the saddle coming back from your injury?
Well, honestly, the honest answer, there's a couple of different answers to that. First of all, I went against doctor's orders. Probably, I'm a horse guy. I was back in the saddle within a month and a half, probably, where they told me to stay off of the horses for 6 months. But I had rehabbed my other knee surgeries by getting back in the saddle. And actually, my physical therapist at the time told me that that was more advantage than staying off of the horses. But now I'm experienced. I wasn't getting on a lot of colts. I wasn't putting myself in situations where I could re-injure myself. I was getting on older horses. So when I had this knee replacement, this last one, I was back on probably within a month and a half, 2 months, I think, but I wasn't effective. That was quite an injury to come back from. And they told me 6 months, and then people that have this surgery have said a year. But I'll be honest with you, it was probably a year and a half before I felt like my timing and things like that were back, where I could count on that replaced knee as well as my original knee. So it did take a while to recover from it, but and that's with working out and working on things.
Was it weird to not be able to use your leg as well as you were used to and not be able to rely on the instincts and reactions that you had for so long?
It scared me. Yeah, it scared me to death, that I wasn't gonna be able to do the things that I wanted to. I did turn it around for myself. I felt like at my age, I see a lot of guys that are getting old in their mind, and I didn't want that to happen to me. So it was a big wake up call for me to kind of answer your question that way. It did scare me. I thought, oh my gosh, I can't do what I really love for a living. It's not just a money making thing for me. It's really what keeps me going. And if I were to lose this, it scared me to death, I found out. So it's actually remotivated me. And I'm probably as effective a writer now as I was in previous years, even in my 30s and 40s right now, I feel like, because I've had to concentrate on it. I don't take my talent for granted now.
Mm.
Which in years before, I looking back, I think I took my talent for granted. I've had to go through some where I thought an injury could maybe take my ability to do what I love to do every day away from me, and it scared me to death.
Was it more challenging mentally or physically to come back from that?
Oh, physically. My problem is a little bit with my competitiveness is once I get tired of doing something and I want to start something new, I'll just throw everything out the window and start something new. So I was switching disciplines a little bit at the time. So I used it as an advantage to sit back and observe when I had my downtime. I'm very fortunate to have some good horse trainer friends that took care of me and helped keep my horses going for me, my neighbors that live close to me. So I got to go observe a lot, and that helped rekindle my fire. But it was tough coming back from that, and it got aggravating at times because with the knee replacement, I had a lot of bone bruising. So it's a deep burn that you can't get away from. But what was surprising about it is when I'd get on a horse, it took some of the pain away. So yeah, I wasn't as effective a rider as what I felt like I could be, but my mindset also made me go back through and rethink everything that I did on a horse. I think the whole process made me a better rider, made me a better horseman through all of it because I actually found out I wasn't invincible.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool that you can go through so much adversity and look at it with a mindset of this is a great opportunity for me to learn. This is an opportunity for me to hone in on my current skills. And this is an opportunity for me to appreciate what I have and what I can do rather than using it as an excuse for why you maybe can't be at a certain level or an excuse as to, oh, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. It pushed you the other way, it seemed like.
Fear is a great motivator, and it's always been my greatest motivator. I hate getting beat, and it's not that I want to win so bad. It's just that I get really embarrassed when I get beat. I get really embarrassed when I can't keep up and do things that other people are doing. And through my career, I felt like that I've always kind of, marched to my own drummer a little bit, maybe would be a way to put it. So I knew the only challenge was out there was for me for me and myself to succeed, but also on another level, I do this for a living. I have people that pay me to be the best I can be. My customers generally have been with me for quite a while, and I'm very fortunate in what I do to have been blessed with people like those that surround me, but I had to get my butt back into gear and produce some results because I knew there was going to be some downtime and switching disciplines. And I put a lot on my plate. but that's a little bit me too. I am better when the odds are really, really down. I think that that was a great motivator for me. It did scare me that I wasn't going to be able to go ride at that top level. So that was a huge motivator for me, was to get myself back up there.
And does that fear push you to still work out now? And is that part of the reason that you like to focus on that area?
Well, the underlying thing is the fear of failure. If I could go take a shot or pop a pill or whatever, and this would all work, yeah, it would be a lot simpler, but that's just not the way this works. And pain that we have to deal with, or body soreness, whatever you want to call it, mental fatigue, physical fatigue, it all goes along with what we do, because this is a very physically demanding event that we do. And it's not just physically demanding, but the mental demanding part will wear you out too. I can do a workout about any time if you push me through, but if my mind's tired, it's hard to do it. So I think that the mental toughness that you get from working out is more than the physical, almost, to me. Having that mental toughness to know that your body's going to be ready to go do the job that you're asking it to do is also a big part of this.
Ellie, you put Troy through a workout, a mobility workout the other day. Can you talk a little bit about what you saw and what oh, sorry, you don't wanna go there?
No, that's great. I really, maybe I'll tune out for this.
No, you got it.
So, like we've talked about before, Lauren has been working out with me for a long time, and she was like, "Hey, do you mind if Troy joins me for a workout?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's totally fine." And so he comes, and Lauren and I, we have a pretty specific routine that we go through. And here comes Troy, and I look at him for a minute, and I'm like, "Yeah, we can't go through Lauren's normal routine. That's
Nice.
not gonna go very well." So I kind of looked at Troy, and I said, Troy, like, what are you struggling with physically? And let's try and do some things today to help you with that. So he was like, "Man, like, I've got this tightness in my knee, and I've got this tightness in my back." So we just totally scrapped the workout we were going to do, and we just did a bunch of stretching. We did a bunch of mobility. We did some foam rolling to help relieve the tension in his back first. And then from there, we did some static stretching to help lengthen his back muscles and to help stretch out his knees. So we did some things like some prayer stretch, forward fold, a downward dog, a figure four, those sorts of things to help lengthen all those body parts out. And then from there, we did a little bit more active stretching to reintroduce some mobility into his joints and into his body. And we only did a 30-minute session. And Troy, how did you feel after that and the next day?
I've been through the routine of working out, so I knew that I was going to be a little sore the next day after starting back up. But honestly, with the way we did it, it was exactly the opposite. I felt better. The approach that you guys have taken with me, I appreciate, because I'd look at it the same way I would look at when a horse comes into the barn. When I get a horse into the barn and it's a new horse that I haven't dealt with before, I'll probably take just a week of loping around, trotting around, not really doing a lot with that horse, just seeing what its limitations are, so that it gets confidence in that. And I think a lot of people get into, they get scared because they overdo it. And I've done that before. So with the weird approach with what you were teaching me, just analyzing where I was at, like you said, and then trying to build the program towards me, I appreciate it, because like the stretching and things like that are more what I need. As equestrians, our butt muscles are going to be tight, our lower back's going to be tight, our shoulders are going to be tight, our pecs are going to be tight, because we're using that so much. So I get very sore in those areas. And of course, we're using our legs all the time, and your hamstrings, your everything just gets really tight. So the way that we approached that the other day has been good. I felt great as far as not having that body soreness. What I think people have to watch out for is if you go too hard. And where before I was maybe overdoing some things, I looked really good in shirts as far as my chest and my arms and things like that, but I was sore a lot from lifting too much. So we're going with a little bit more of a stretching routine now, which greatly helps me.
Yeah, all that muscle isn't gonna do you any good, one, if you're not flexible, and two, if you're not functional, right?
Exactly.
So there's different types of strengths. You can have, strength where you're working on just building muscle size. And yeah, that's great for aesthetics, but that's not actually going to translate to riding. So a great example of this is my boyfriend is an avid gym rat, goes to the gym all the time. Like he can squat like 450 pounds. Like he is strong, right? I take him to go ride a horse around, just walk and trot for 30 minutes, and he's sore for the next 2 days, right? Because it's a different set of muscles. And when you go to the gym, the time that your muscles is under tension is so different in the gym versus when you go to ride. When you go to the gym, even though you're going to be there for an hour or two, your muscles are not under tension for that entire time. They might be under tension for 30 to 60 seconds max, depending on how many sets and reps you're doing. But when you're riding a horse, your muscles are under tension for an hour or longer if you're riding multiple horses. So your training in the gym needs to match that. And then also back to the functional side of fitness, when you go to work out and you go do traditional strength training, you're usually in a very controlled environment. Horses are not a controlled environment. Your body needs to be able to adapt to bumps and quick turns and stops and all that sort of thing. So you have to train that way in the gym, and that's how you're going to get strong for riding. Hi, everyone. It's your personal trainer, Ellie. If you're looking to become a stronger, more balanced, and flexible rider, I'm here to help. I offer virtual personal training sessions and customized workout plans that you can complete on your own. As a fellow competitor, I understand the physical demands riding requires, and my goal is to help you perform your best for your horse, whether you're preparing for a show or just want to improve your everyday rides. Visit lopeanddowntherailfitness.com or click on my website tab in the notes of this podcast episode to learn more. Let's work together to elevate your ride.
Yeah, the a big lesson I learned on that was probably when I was 15 or so. I told you that I played sports, and so we had conditioning. And in football, I can bulk up pretty fast when I start lifting weights. And I got pretty bulky. And of course, when I was 15 years old, that was really cool. I went from being a 150-pound little guy to a 185-pound guy with big chest and muscles, and it was great. But when I got on the horses, I found out that that was not working so good for me. And actually, it's one of the reasons I quit sports because I figured out that too much bulk can get in your way with the horses.
In what ways do you notice how a rider's fitness impacts the horse's performance?
Oh my gosh. Well, main thing is going to be stamina and endurance. We use a lot of leg on our horses. I don't think, we're not like digging into these horses with our legs muscle wise, but constantly we have our legs flexed, holding them away from a horse. We may put enough pressure on our legs on the sides of these horses, and our leg may be very tense to tighten that muscle up. So if that horse feels that, but we're not actually pressing on that horse. It's more about pressing within our body and trying to make that horse find our core. The main thing to riding a horse is your core. So if you don't have that strength in your core, if you're not physically fit, especially if you get older, it's really hard on people and they get really sore. Now, the people that have had fitness programs and are fairly physically fit when they come to ride with me, their legs may be a little sore or something like that, or that you may get strawberries on the inside of your knees, your butt maybe get sore, whatever. Things just from the saddle rubbing on you. But if you're not physically fit and you're not out doing physical activities, you're in the house a lot, and then you come try and ride one of these horses, it's pretty difficult for a lot of people.
I found it really interesting how you were talking about how, yeah, we do have to use our muscles, and it's not just for purely gripping the horse. It's like you said, to balance and to push and pull against the horse. And it's not necessarily direct pressure on the horse, but your legs are always activated 24/7 when you're riding them. And then glute gets activated and your core gets activated. And then your shoulders, because that's one thing you tell me all the time is that my shoulders are their shoulders. And so I'm constantly trying to put power into the shoulders and upper back and saying, okay, come to me with my horse and think about them elevating up to me. And so even just those little muscles, I feel like in my back area, which I know I make jokes all the time about wanting to do pull-ups, but I do feel like doing those pull-ups made me stronger. So then when I command that horse to come to me, I feel like they can feel it a lot better than when I was weak and puny.
Well, I think that feel is a big thing that we hunt for and that we're trying to make that feel better every day with our horses. So I've got a question for you, Lauren. That you, when you were living in California, when I was coaching you out there versus now that you've moved back here, have you changed things about the way you ride? Do you feel a difference in what, how you're preparing your body now just by being back here and with, of course, with more intensity to your program now?
So I've kept everything pretty much the same with Ellie. So Ellie and I, we stick with our program. I love all the mobility, the strength work that you have me do. I really like the stability and the flexibility. You mentioned a word earlier, functional fitness. And that's what I go back to all the time is functional, functional, functional. But in terms of the horse, that saddle time really has made a difference. And being able to feel how much time under tension I really am putting in when I'm on the back of a horse, it's at a whole nother level than I thought it was at. I thought I was going at 100% and really I was going at probably 40%. And so there was an adjustment period when I upped my level of intensity on riding. And then I had to go back and say, okay, Ellie gives me these mobility workouts. I need to take them very seriously and I need to do bits and pieces of these mobility workouts almost every single day instead of just one dedicated workout once a week to it because you just get so tight from the amount of tension that you're putting on it.
And I think another thing that goes into that too is stress. We don't spend a lot of downtime with our horses. So we're always in the moment with our horses. And I think that you have to be physically fit. If you get winded and you're out there doing your showmanship, or I'm in the middle of a wrestling contest with these colts when you've got to stay in there and kind of outlast these horses a little bit to get your point across. I think that makes a huge difference. I think what we do is very physically intensive that way. So I think that somebody maybe that rides casually one horse a day versus somebody where we're going as hard as we can until we just can't go anymore, basically every day. That's what I was wondering if you've seen a difference in between how you need to prepare yourself now versus what you're doing 6, 7 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, sometimes Alicia will come out and give me an equitation lesson or she'll give me a showmanship lesson. And when they tell you to keep running around, or when she tells me, get in 2 point, get those legs back, get those legs down, I can't look at her and say, hold on a second. I'm cramping up a little bit. I have to say, yes, ma'am, whatever you want me to do, ma'am, and go to work. And I couldn't do that if I didn't have everything built up on the outside with the stability, the strength, the mobility that Ellie has given me that foundation on. Because when she calls on me to step to a higher level, if I have no foundation, I couldn't get there.
Well, then one thing I've noticed since Ellie, since Lauren has been here, is that after 3 days, of course, it was hot weather when she got here, but after about 3 days, she was walking pretty stiff legged when she first got here. And the other day, we were working on something with her all around mare, and we got to a certain point, and it was working really good. And Lauren kind of looked at me. I was getting another horse. I was like, okay, go do more reps. And she went back in and, we'll have to go around the arena maybe 10, 12, 15 times, whatever I say, without any mistakes before we're satisfied with it. And I've seen a difference in where you're have more stamina. You're not as tight. Your muscles don't get as wore out, which makes it more effective for you to get your point across with the horses. A lot of times we may have these horses in the correct position, but just because we've got them there, they've got to learn how to stay there, which is just like working out. It's reps. And like what we do with the horses a lot, it goes back into reps. So it relates over physical fitness in the fact that we get in and get out. We get in, we get out. When I say that, we may put a leg on a horse, take it off, put a leg on it till that horse figures out what the response that we're wanting from them. And that takes stamina. And you can't just quit once your leg gets tired.
Are you looking for that extra competitive edge? Struggling with show pen anxiety, or looking to set and achieve meaningful goals with your horse? Schedule a session with me, Lauren, your dedicated mindset coach. As an experienced competitor, I understand the mental demands required to excel at the highest level, and am here to support you in building a plan to help you stay accountable and reaching those goals. For more information, check out laurencervelli.com or click on the website link in our show notes. Let's work together to elevate your ride.
I do wanna talk about something really quick. So,
Yeah.
Troy, you mentioned how when Lauren first came out, that was in, like, what, August, right?
Hmm.
For a while, Lauren and I, when we first started working out together, first with all my clients, we always focus on mobility and stability first. Once that base is established, then you can start working on strength training. Lauren had a couple personal things over the summer and she kind of fell off the wagon a little bit with her exercise routine. Totally fine. It happens. When she came back to working out again, she had lost a little bit of her mobility and a little bit of her stability, and so we
Uh-huh.
really focused on that for a while. And Lauren, what differences have you noticed since we started doing that stuff again and really focusing on that?
Well, probably the biggest difference is now I don't have to touch the wall when I try to do my lunges with the overhead weight. But in regards to on a horse, um, I do notice a difference in the stability. The big thing, which I feel like we harped on a little bit, but is the mobility. And just like I don't sleep as well when I'm really tight. And when I
Yeah.
upped my level of intensity on the horses without working on myself as intense, I don't sleep as good. I don't walk as good. I'm not super excited to go do showmanship because I know I'm going to be limping around the arena as I'm trying to get these things to be straight. And I myself can't ever be straight. Right. So if I
Yeah.
will take the extra 20, 30 minutes a day and focus on myself and get back that way, I feel like it pays dividends the next day because I'm ready and willing to go work on my horse and be there for it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Lauren, but before that had happened, where you kind of took a break from the exercise and you kind of came back to it, I don't think you took the mobility stuff as serious as you do now.
No, I didn't. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. It was something I definitely took for granted, but I also was not riding at this high of a level, I'd say. I was riding every day still, but it wasn't to this intensity of me needing to be aware of every single stride. So I guess by upping the level of intensity, kind of like we talked about the other day, how if you're going to work the horse hard, you need to have somebody be able to take care of the horse hard. The exact same thing for our body, right? If I'm going to work really hard, I need to take care of myself just as hard. And I did not realize or appreciate that until now.
Well, I think the one thing too to add on that, Ellie, is when you have somebody, I can't work out on my own very well. I have to have somebody to coach me to do that. So Lauren, of course, we were working out horse wise together in the last few years when she's been in California, but she would go do the exercise, send me a video. Okay, does this look right? Yeah. But when you've got somebody there, I'll watch her and she'll be happy maybe with getting a maneuver that we're working on correct. And I'm not the easiest guy to ride with sometimes. I demand that she go do that maneuver multiple times flawlessly until we have it perfectly engraved in our head. It takes 28 days, they say, to develop a new habit of doing it consistently for those 28 days. So we do work really hard at something until it's perfect. And I think that I've seen her physical stamina become way better the last few months.
Yeah. And kind of like you were saying about you kind of need that extra set of eyes. That's why I like working out with Ellie, is because she's my set of eyes to say, hey, that was a decent lunge, but come on, you could be a little better. Or hey, you need to be more stable here. Or hey, you could do more weight, you can do more reps. Go, go, go. It's good to have somebody push you to that next level.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everybody needs an accountability partner. So, Troy, how have you noticed differences in your body as you've aged through the years?
Well, there's some things. Joints are going to be a big thing, and that's where working out is a necessity to me. My shoulders, I don't have bad shoulders, but as much as we use them, and I'll lay in bed at night and I'm a side sleeper, so I'll have to switch sides. But when I had a little lull, I had a regular workout regimen for last few years, pretty regular. And in June of this year, we got busy and I started hitting horse shows. I had to go back to hustling. I had had the luxury with the pandemic and slowing down with my knee surgery and things like that to kind of stay off of the scene for a little bit. But it was time for me to get going. So in June, I slacked off my working out. Well, by the time I got to August, I was like, wow, I was really glad I was working out because I've missed almost 2 months now and I'm still in pretty good shape. But about the 3 month mark, it hit me that I needed to get back to doing something. When I quit working out, it's not just the muscle, it's those ligaments that you have to work and those joint muscles to keep those going. And that's a big part of why I've got to do this, why I've got to keep my body in shape because I can't do the things I want to do unless I work out.
Fitness is not just for aesthetics, it's about being functional. So once you stop looking at fitness as a way to be thinner, lose weight, all the negative connotations and start looking at it as a positive, I'm going to work out so that I can continue doing my hobby at the level that I want to do it. If you change your mindset a little bit, you're going to enjoy your workouts more. You're going to be more motivated. You're going to think of it as a reward for yourself and not look at your workouts as a way to beat up your body as a punishment. Once you change how you look at the workouts, you're going to see so much out of it because you're going to push yourself harder.
It's a mindset. And with riding the Rainers, we do at the major shows, our day starts at 1 o'clock in the morning. And so your body has to be ready to get up. You can't go out and have a huge meal and drink a bottle of wine and do all that stuff that, sounds like fun. You have to get your body ready for the next day. Well, working out gets you on that consistent level and that mindset where you get your body ready for the next day. Not saying I'm perfect at it, but my habits have gotten better about preparing my body for the next day, just like I do with my horses. So that I think is one of the benefits that comes with working out.
Yeah, it's almost like it pushes you to a whole nother level mentally.
Yeah, you start taking care of yourself a little bit more. If you don't eat right and take care of your body right, and you're like, why is this so difficult? Well, you're going to make your workouts easier by taking care of your body and preparing. Everything goes hand in hand with this. And so then I've noticed, honestly, 10 years ago, I don't think I could have the stamina to go do what I do now. And I pretty much get up and go as hard as I can go all day long from the time I wake up until 5 or 6 o'clock, whatever it is when we're at home. Now, when we're at horse shows, you're going to add all that because you're going to take all that away. And so that's where I've seen the benefits of working out really help me, even though I'm not working out when I'm at the horse shows as a rule, because we're so busy and the hours are so long. I'm tougher than those people are at 3 o'clock in the morning when it counts. And that's when a lot of our work gets done. And when we prepare for our days in the middle of the night. So I found out that being physically fit it helps you 24 hours a day.
Yeah, Troy's totally right. You don't have to work out at the horse show to see the benefits of your workouts. If you've been working out consistently for 2, 3 months, even if you don't work out for the week or two that you're at the horse show, you're still going to have those benefits that you had because you already put in the work.
Hey, Elevate Your Ride fans. Are you loving our show and looking for a way to show your support? Check out our line of Elevate Your Ride merchandise. From stylish t-shirts to cozy hoodies to journals and hats. We have everything you need to represent your favorite podcast. Ready to gear up? Click on the Buy Our Merchandise Here link in the podcast notes or head on over to our website, elevateyourride.co, and click on the store tab. Thank you for your support. Make sure to like, follow, and share our platform with your friends.
I'll be honest with you, working out is probably the hardest thing I've had to do mentally to get into the habit of it because I was pretty naturally gifted physically as far as the stamina and the muscle needed and all that. The horses have kept me in shape over the years. But as with everybody, Father Time's undefeated. So you have to kind of start doing some things to get back up to the level. And if you've had success in years past, you don't want to fall off. I've watched guys get old in this business and not take care of themselves. I'm like, wow, that's sad. I'll have to tell that guy used to ride really good. I don't ever want to be one of those guys like, oh, that guy used to be able to ride pretty good. I may not be at the level I was when I was 25, but I still take a lot of pride in knowing that my moves are as good as they were when I was 30 or 35 years old. I may not be as quick, but I'm maybe better at them. Do you work with other people that ride multiple horses, or are they mostly one horse people?
Yeah, so I would say the majority of my clients are non-pros who only get to ride once a week, or actually a lot of my clients, they'll have a horse that's out of state. So they work with me because they need to keep themselves in shape. So that way, when they do go ride their horse, they don't have to focus on their physical challenges with their trainer. They can focus on the more important things like their rhythm, their timing, their feel, all those sorts of things. So my job is to keep them fit that way, when they go to ride, they don't have to fight their body. So, Lauren's probably one of my clients that rides the most. I do work with my horse trainer. So, I mean, she's riding, anywhere from 6 to 12 horses in a day. What I actually do with her, because she's strong and she's stable, she's balanced. So, my trainer and I, Savannah is her name, we actually got evaluated by a physical therapist for equestrians a couple weeks ago. And the physical therapist looked at Savannah and watched her ride around, and she told her she was the most straight and balanced rider she's ever seen. She doesn't compensate, she doesn't fall in, she doesn't fall out. Like Savannah is very straight and very balanced. So I don't have to work on that sort of thing with her. With Savannah, she actually has a little bit of hip bursitis. So we had the physical therapist out to evaluate her hip and give her exercises to help strengthen that. And so once she has rehabbed that, then we can work on building that strength back up. But yeah, most of my clients are not riding very consistently. And so I really just have to work on keeping them fit. So that way, when they do get to ride, they don't have to worry about their fitness.
Right. And to add to that, I'm just going to tell you a little something that the mentality wasn't to help everybody. It was you had to prove yourself. So to have coaching is kind of a foreign idea with me. So since I have had a personal trainer, it has made the mental aspect really helps me because I get to listen to instruction and I get to react to somebody telling me what to do. I have really enjoyed that part of it. I think that keeping your mental capacities where you can take instruction is also a big benefit that I have found that goes along with the physical part.
100%. So when I'm coaching a client, I'm usually not working out with them. I'm sitting and I'm watching them. Pretty much all my clients I work with virtually. So I've got my iPad set up and we're doing FaceTime or whatever. And I'm watching them and I've got their workout planned out on my laptop and I'm taking notes and all that sort of thing. And I'm not doing it with them. So if there's a new exercise that I have programmed for the day, I'm going to verbally tell them the position that their body needs to go in, and they kind of have to figure it out, right? Because when you go to ride a horse, you need to be able to have that ability of if somebody gives you an instruction, you need to have the body awareness, the body
Hmm.
control to be able to
Yes.
go and perform that maneuver. So I actually try to teach that to a lot of my clients as much as I can. And that's going to help them develop feel, control on the horse, right? So that's something that I really, really try and focus on with a lot of my clients. If they watch me do the workout, then they're just going to try to mimic me. They're not going to
Hmm.
try to figure it out by themselves. And something that actually helps with that as well is doing workouts on your own, right? Because it forces you to be accountable. If I'm always
Hmm.
there, then you're not going to hold yourself quite as accountable because you're just kind of waiting for me to correct you, right?
Right.
So a
Right.
lot of my clients, I have them do personal training where I see them, but then they also do workouts on their own, like what Lauren does, right? Like Lauren sees me, a couple times a week, but then she's doing the rest of her workouts on her own. So, Lauren, have you noticed a difference in how you keep yourself accountable? And is it actually better or worse when I'm not there?
I'd say if I know that you're going to be seeing me once a week, it keeps me way more accountable than if I am like, oh, I'm not going to see Ellie for a month or 2 months. If I know that you're going to be checking in on me and want to see progress, because the way that you and I have our workouts scheduled is that each week we either add reps or add weights. And so if I'm not doing the work on my end, you're totally going to be able to tell when the next week comes and it's time to add weights or add reps because I'm not going to be able to do it. So just knowing that you're going to be there to check my work and see if I have been doing what I said I was going to do, that's what pushes me. And then another part that pushes me is if I know I have a horse show coming up and I know that there's an extended trot in there, I know I'm going to have to be pushing. Or if there's a 2 point, I know I'm going to have to be putting in the work in gym, right? So those things all work together to keep me on track. But knowing that I have to show up and prove to you that I did what I said I was going to, that's what pushes me the most.
Thank you for listening to Elevate Your Ride. Find us on Instagram and Facebook, all linked in the podcast notes. We'll see you next time. The information provided by Elevate Your Ride is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as medical or professional advice. While we discuss health and fitness topics related to equestrians, the content provided through this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. The views expressed by the host and guests on Elevate Your Ride are their own and should not be taken as professional guidance. We strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, but we cannot guarantee that the information will be applicable to every individual listener or that it reflects the most current research or guidelines. Before making any changes to your health and fitness routine, we strongly recommend consulting with a qualified professional who can provide personalized advice based on your individual needs and circumstances. Elevate Your Ride and its creators will not be liable for any direct, indirect, consequential, special, exemplary, or other damages arising from the use of information on this podcast. Thank you for listening to Elevate Your Ride. We are committed to providing high quality content and appreciate your trust in us as a source of information for your health and fitness journey.